Good morning, everyone. This is Wanda from Wanda's Creations. Today we're going to redo this basket. This basket had a lot of problems on the top. It was a flat top. We had to take the veneer off the top of it, go to the next level, and once we did that, then we had to glue the second level and clamp it. And so you can see here that I am cleaning it. What I have done is once it was dry from being glued, I then sanded the top to have it be a smooth finish. But there's still a little crack that needs to be fixed. So here I'm adding Gorilla wood glue into the crack, and then I'm just going to fix this one little area to fill that in. What I'm going to use to fill that in is Iron Orchid Design Air Dry Clay. I'm going to use it instead of wood filler. It works really great because this air dry clay, once it's dried, it dries really hard, and I'll be able to sand it smooth, and I'm going to show you all of that. So I'm just right at now, I just took a little piece off my brick of air dry clay, and I'm just shoving it into that crack that I put the glue in, and just smoothing it out the best way I can, just making sure that I can fill that in, but also to minimize my sanding once it's dry. What I didn't show you is with the air dry clay, I wrapped it up very, very well, because air dry clay, once the air hits it, it starts drying, so you want to do that for your bricks. Here you can see I'm just sanding it. I start with a 220, I go to an 80, and then I smooth it out with a 220. I'm going to decoupage this, so I'm putting a light layer of paint. This is DIY white linen over the top. I'm speeding it up for you. You don't need to see me paint. You've seen this a million times. So just speeding it up. We're going to do something fun with this once we get the paper on there. And I hope you stay tuned to watch all of it. Here you can see that I've laid the Decoupage Queen rice paper. I didn't show you this, but all I did was I used a layer of DIY liquid patina as my decoupage medium. I laid the paper down, and then I smoothed it with using a sandwich bag over my hand to get all the wrinkles out. And here, because the edges were long on the paper, were longer than my surface, I am just taking a 220 sandpaper and just sanding off the edges. And once I've done this on all sides, then I will give this another coat on the top of DIY liquid patina. You can see that I've sanded it. I have the liquid patina on there, it's all dried. Now we're going to do the fun part. So you can see that the edges of this paper was not wide enough for the top of this basket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a paint blending technique. So here I'm using all of the DIY colors. This is the regular formula, this is not the cottage colors. I'm just taking what I have and seeing what I feel like are the colors within the paper. So you can see that I looked at Walk on Water, Farm Fresh, this is Weathered Wood. I need a little lightness in there, so I'm going to use the Vintage Linen. And we're going to do a blended technique to fill in the edges there. I'm going to start with Farm Fresh as my base coat to cover up that white. That seems to be like the most common color within the paper, so we'll start with that first, and then we'll build our layers of color. You can see here I'm just using an artisan brush, and I'm doing like a stippling effect rather than a brush stroke effect. This is because I believe that it will blend the paper easier. And you may notice too that the sides of the paper are jagged. That is because I ripped the edges of the paper. When you have a jagged edge, it's easier to blend than a straight edge. The edge doesn't show up as much. And so you can see that I'm taking the paint and I am filling in where the white is, but I'm also putting some on the paper as well to have it have a more cohesive look. I'm going to do this Farm Fresh on both sides of the paper. That's my base coat. Then I will start adding colors, and you'll see. I'm going to show you that. You can see here I did both sides. Now comes the fun part. We're going to start adding color. We're going to blend those colors together to mimic what's in the paper. You can see that I have lots of artisan brush. Each color is going to have its own brush, and the big brush is my blending brush. I'm going to also use water, so I have my water girl so I can mist the paper and the paint. When you do a blending technique, it's all about layers. So you do not want to use a lot of paint on your brush. You can see here, this is Walk on Water. So I'm just dabbing it here, dabbing it there. This paper is a really great paper to blend with because it has a lot of variations of the colors. So I'm just looking at the paper, trying to figure out, okay, where is this color and where is this color? And you'll see I will add dark where it seems like it's darker in the paper, lighter where it seems like it's lighter on the paper, and that's what I do. So I'm adding a little dark in with the Walk on Water. I'm going to mist it, and I'm going to mist my brush. You don't want to have your paper be too wet, but you want to have it be wet enough so that the paint moves. These are all water-based paints, so they blend very, very nicely. You can see how the colors move into one another. And I'm trying to blend them together, but make sure that the edges aren't, that they feather out. So it looks like the paint is part of the paper. You can see that I cleaned my brush. I'm keeping my blending brush as clean as possible by wiping it off with a paper towel. Now I'm going to go in the lower part of the paper, again adding Walk on Water. But you'll see that I'm going to add white. See where the swan's feathers are? I'm going to add a little white to bring those out. See, that's where I'm adding a little white. I'm also going to use very little weathered wood because you can see below the swan the water is dark. So I just want to have the paint blend in with the paper, and that's your whole goal of blending. It takes practice, guys, and the best thing to do is just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Here I'm doing a swirling motion that helps to cloud it up a bit. Even use your finger if you have to. I mean, there's no right or wrong way. Everybody has a different technique, and my technique is whatever works to get the job done. If it's stippling, if it's swirling, if it's using my finger to blend, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you the other side, but here you can see that I'm also like blending the edges. I've sped this up a little bit, so it's the same thing as what I did before. Adding the paint, pulling the colors from the paper, misting it, taking my blending brush, blending it. Here I'm adding sandy blonde and a little bit of dark. Just kind of having the paper tell me what to do. Misting my brush. I've misted the paper. You probably didn't see it. The camera didn't pick it up. Still working on my camera techniques, guys. Sorry. It's a process. It's all a process, right? If you have any questions about this video or any of the videos that I post, feel free to send me a message in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Here is the first blend for both sides. Now we have to do a second blend. And this, like I said, we're building layers. So what your second coat of blending is going to do is it's going to fill in any of the spaces that didn't quite get coverage on the first blend, and it allows you to add color in different areas that you maybe want to. Maybe you see, okay, well that worked, but I need to add a different color to that, and it's all going to blend in together. But I can tell you that a second coat really makes a difference. Same technique, just adding colors here and there. When you do blend these together, you'll see with my blending brush, you want to use a feather light touch, because this is a water-based paint and you could easily pull the paint from underneath away from what you're trying to achieve. And you'll see that I do this, but I fix it. Just keep adding paint. You can always lighten it, you can always darken it. You're just playing and having fun. Misting it, not saturating it, and doing very light. And I have to be in control here, guys, because I am such a heavy-handed painter. I have to remind myself that I'm just I'm just feather touch, feather touch. You can see that I pulled it away like I just told you, and I used my finger to fix it. That's fine, that works. And on the other side, you're just gonna keep doing this until you like the look of the blend. And if you love it, others will love it. Don't be afraid of doing this. If worst case you don't like it, just paint over it. Add more. That's the thing with blending. It's building layers, and the more you add, the better it gets. So you could do 3 or 4 coats. Just adding here, adding there, taking a step back, saying, oh, I really like that. And this is a good piece to practice on. You know, if you ever had the desire to do a blend on a piece of furniture, start small. Put a piece of rice paper on a little board and then work to blending on the edges on that, just to give yourself some practice before you go to a larger piece. It's a lot of fun. And you can see I'm just adding light here because of those flowers. I just want to lighten it up. I'm using my finger to just dab to smooth out the edges so I don't have brush strokes there. I'm just feathering it out, adding a little dark, just playing around. Putting the caps on my paint. I could have cut that out, sorry guys. We're going to be going to the next scene. Okay, so this is it. This is the final. It's finally done, and the paint is all dried. Now I'm going to take DIY clear wax and give it a coat of wax, and I'm just doing a swirling motion over the wax, and you can see that the wax, once it hits the paint, it darkens it up. This is a great wax. I love DIY clear wax. I use it all the time to seal. And I want to refresh my basket, so I'm just going to give the outside of the basket a nice coat of wax to refresh that wood, and I do it inside.